crime is at a 30-year low in the District of Columbia. Now, D.C. is different than other American cities in that the federal government has authority over the city much more extensive than it has over cities in other parts of the country. President Trump does have the legal power to take this action, but it's supposed to be done only on an emergency basis, and it's not evident that we have an emergency in D.C.
Well, so that brings me to the next question, which was, under what circumstances can the president have the authority to do this? And here, doesn't he have about 48 hours, in fact, to explain to Congress why he wants to take this action?
Yes, Congress gave Washington greater authority to govern itself in a home rule law passed in the early 1970s. Before that, Congress had governed the district directly, as the Constitution authorizes it to do. The authority to govern it still rests ultimately with Congress, and so Trump has an obligation to explain why he's intervening in this fashion.
So in your opinion, how long does this thing take to work? How do we know what the results are? Because initially, we've got all this sort of extra authority that he's bringing in, the National Guard and these forces. So you would expect crime to go down, at least in the short term. But what happens after 30, 60, 90 days out?
Officially, at this point, he's only taking control of the police force for 30 days, although it might be extended. There will probably be a claim that we've had a drop in crime, but we know that Trump is disregarding the current federal statistics, and so we don't know where those new numbers will come from. I think what will be more reliably in evidence is whether a lot of homeless people are pushed out of the District of Columbia, and we'll have to see what happens to those people. I think whatever happens, President Trump will claim it's been a success, and he may use it as a reason to try to exert control over other cities as well. And
so how are other cities responding to his action in that case?
Well, they are deeply alarmed, especially because he, in listing the cities, has only mentioned cities with Democratic mayors. He hasn't mentioned cities that have higher crime rates in some instances, but have Republican mayors. And the president was pretty explicit that he wanted to show that Republicans could control crime more effectively than Democrats. They naturally are fearing that this is a step of the federal government seeking to gain more coercive control of Democratic cities. Now, this was a surprise announcement. We're getting the public reaction now, and I think that the Trump administration will respond to whether the American public sees this as an appropriate step or not.
Yeah, and there has been sort of mixed reaction, because there are those who think that it might be a positive step. For example, Mayor Bloomberg in New York, I remember when he came into office, he initiated a strong crackdown there, which was quite effective in many ways. There were also people who weren't too happy with some of his initiatives. So what might a federally run city look like? How do you go about enforcing this mandate?
Well, we've simply never had this before, so there's no clear answer yet to what it will look like. But he's planning to use 800 National Guardsmen, 150 FBI agents, and presumably they are going to go around D.C., try to find youth gangs and other perpetrators of violence, and corral them in one way or another. So it will look like more aggressive police tactics than we're accustomed to in the United States. We did have a precedent in Los Angeles recently when armored vehicles were sent into MacArthur Park as part of an immigrant roundup. But before that could escalate, the federal government pulled the forces back. That may happen again, but we just don't know.
We don't know indeed. It's a great experiment, and we'll have to wait and see what the results turn out to be. But thank you so much for your time, Rogers M. Smith.
Thank you.